No, for raising your hand, as it finished Getafe 1, Barcelona 1 then. Let's take a look at what that means at the top now. We'll discuss later on Atletico Madrid losing against Leganés, meaning this has been an absolutely dream day for Real Madrid, who have the chance to go top of the table tomorrow against Las Palmas and extend their lead over Barcelona to 7 points. Meanwhile, for Getafe, you take a look at it, they give themselves a little bit of breathing room, 1 point in fact, away from the relegation zone after that draw today. Luis Garcia joins us. Luis, what was wrong with Barca today?
There was a few things wrong, I guess, but the most important is that they were not clinical. They couldn't have the end product. They have 3-4 chances. They should have finished at least one of them. We saw in the first 45, Rafinha and also Lewandowski. In the second half, once again, Rafinha. When you are very close in these kind of games, there is a very thin line between winning or drawing the game, as we've seen, and you need to be very accurate. I think from the first minute we saw at Barcelona that it was not moving the ball as quick as we saw them in the last couple of games. The intensity wasn't there anymore. And it was in the second half where we dominated the game, but they were not under control. They, at some points, understood that Getafe was going to create chances because on those counterattacks, they were even sometimes losing advantage 3-4, 3 players against 4. And when you are in that kind of situation, you know that you are not in the good path. In the last moment, all the players got frustrated because you know that Getafe, every single team in La Liga should go, first of all, to go before they face Getafe, to go to do a session of mindfulness, because you have to go calm and understanding that at some point they're going to lose and waste the time, they're going to frustrate you, they're going to try to chase you and face you 1v1. But in the end, this is football, and there are many ways to get the points. So the Getafe took their way, and they win a very good point for what they is this season.
I often go on those mindfulness.
Well, Stevie hosts a weekly thing in his back garden, mindfulness.
This game looked like it was going to be easy after 20 minutes. Probably should have been easier than it was, for all the reasons that Luis mentioned. And then the Getafe goal just changed the belief that they had and started to frustrate Barcelona. There was a winter break, a short winter break, but the La Liga poor form continues.
Yeah.
And only Real Madrid, who have just been walloped by Barcelona in the Super Cup and struggled against Celta Vigo, had to go to extra time. Only they could go 7 points clear tomorrow, and they're not even playing well. Now, they could stuff that up, but this is a concern. They go, I don't know, the Betis game maybe was a little bit of a false narrative because they were so poor.
Right.
Obviously, it was a big win in Saudi Arabia.
Second half today, there was just nothing from them, though, was there?
No,
we were talking, yeah, they had the ball.
Well,
saying, how many times the keeper tested?
Well, I think Lewandowski knew from last year what he was going to be in for, and we saw a couple of tackles from the back whenever he came short. But the two guys that we really have talked about, Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, struggled to do anything of any note. There was the odd little bit and pieces. You saw Rafinha miss at the back post. Yamal had a strike that was deflected. Rafinha header in the first half, but they really struggled to assert themselves in the game. Brought Frankie de Jong on to try and get a bit more control. But let's be honest, Getafe on the counter-attack in the second half looked as dangerous. And whilst the Getafe goalkeeper was busy, or he was good, he didn't have to be great. So a worrying trend from Hansi Flick, I think, in terms of La Liga and how to break teams down that sit as deep as Getafe did, and give them credit as well. You may not people may not like watching them outside of Getafe fans, and the antics of some of their players was the same as last season. It was unnecessary, but they did a very good job defensively. As the boys mentioned in commentary, they're in great shape. They're tough to break down, and they offered somewhat of a threat going forward. So a very good day for them.
What's interesting, Stevie, is that we knew exactly what Getafe were going to do.
Yes, exactly.
They did it. Should Hansi Flick have been prepared better to deal with that?
Well, I find it difficult to understand. I don't think there's any way possible that Hansi Flick hasn't said, look, you know this team are going to try and upset you, try and get in your head, try and disrupt you. I can't imagine there's any way he hasn't mentioned that. And the longer the game went on, the more they fell into the trap. culminating in the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
There wasn't any football. It was just people hitting the deck, people complaining.
Which was their game plan. all along.
Referee giving yellow cards. So for Getafe, it was the perfect scenario.
Yeah. Was it a red card for you, by the way, Luis?
No question, but if the referee decided to call it, it should have been a red card. So this is the way it is, and once you have done it before, you have to keep that consistency. So that's why I don't understand why the referee decided not to do it.
Luis